You were also on an episode of Carpool Critics. We talked about Contagion.
Yes, you know what? The shameless self-promotion. If we're going to do it, let's do it, boys. So Carpool Critics is a sort of like, what would we call that? Like an incubator project or like a Skunkworks type of project?
I don't know how it exists in your mind. This is news to me.
I don't know exactly. Basically, Riley, James, and David were really passionate and really excited to do just a movie podcast. And they were like, do you consider this to be a conflicting media? Because in our employment contracts here, we say, look, you can't utilize your Linus Media Group fame and influence to just go and be your own tech YouTuber on the side. That's not really how this works. So we work with people who want to create on their own, like Taryn, for example, where we say, okay, yeah, it can't be conflicting, or if you feel like it might be conflicting, have a meeting with me about it. Like I try to be
right of first
accommodating.
refusal, basically.
Basically. So they brought it to me, right of first refusal, and I think it was a big surprise.
I was like, he's not gonna want it, but all right, we'll have the meeting.
I was like, yeah, because the concept I thought was great. I didn't like the original name or like some of like kind of the direction you guys sort of were pitching it at me from. But what really excited me was I loved hearing these guys just talk about movies really loud when they should be working out in the studio. Because we would get into these spirited discussions that sometimes would make their way over onto Twitter. They would overflow, like, what's a better movie, Hercules or Mulan?
Oh, don't get David started on Disney
Don't
stuff,
get
man.
David started, especially on Hercules. He thinks that movie is so much better than it is. He is right. It is better than I thought it was. I rewatched it as an adult. It's actually not. It's not that bad. It's pretty good, but it's not better than Mulan. And I'm not going to be on that episode. I don't want to. I don't think our relationship can take it. But
the origin story was that we
Yeah.
carpooled together, and then the carpool ended, so we wanted to keep talking and making you pay for us to do that. But and that's why it's called Carpool Critics. But one of the problems with that name is that a lot of people are like, why isn't this in a car?
yeah,
And I was like, that was one of the reservations I had about naming it Carpool Critics. But the spirit of the origin is in the name, but we have to
Yes.
record it with good audio quality here in the studio.
yes, and it will get better. So when we finish the renos, we're gonna redo. Actually, we're gonna try to integrate the WAN show into the new podcast set. We're gonna do Carpool Critics there. We'll get like some disc plates or something so that we can kind of.
Nick and I had a meeting about this
Make 'em look
today,
different?
actually. So we might not always be sitting beside each other in WAN show in the future.
Ooh.
It might be just on you, and then camera switches to someone else.
Oh, that kind of change.
I know, it's gonna be rough.
I gotta hold on here. I gotta hold on. The
What do
earth's
you guys
shifting.
think about the background? Because we were talking about different
Yeah.
options for having different backgrounds. Because let's say you have one room where you're going to use multiple different shows, and they each should have their own brand identity.
Yeah.
You want a quick way to turn a room around so that when you're looking at Carpool Critics, you know you're looking at Carpool Critics. One option is mountable posters that you can turn over, maybe TVs that have different branding displayed, maybe a curtain.
TV's tough to make look not tacky. I like curtains.
And they reflect, they're hard to shoot.
I also like rolling or sliding like
yeah.
solid backdrops.
Oh, we had an idea today that was novel.
Yeah.
A shelf that has memorabilia on it, like a bunch of movie stuff on a shelf, and that stuff is glued to the shelf.
And you just take
But
the whole
You take
shelf.
the whole shelf off, and you bring in the next shelf with like all the gaming stuff on it.
I actually kind of like that. That's a pretty clever idea. I like it. Laura.
That's gonna be sweet though, because we'll have a proper room with proper audio stuff, and it'll be a closed off room so that we don't need to interrupt filming anywhere else in the building, because that's a big problem we have right now. Right now, the podcast is just in a random office up there, but it's right beside Linus's office. So if they're doing a vlog in Linus's office,
Yeah.
we can't do the podcast. And then there's other sets down here where you just can't
Yeah.
film in the kitchen while we're filming in the bedroom, for example.
The podcast gets very spirited sometimes. So anyway, we decided to do Contagion, which was a perfect fit because David wasn't able to make it because he's in self-isolation because he was advised that he may have come in contact with an airport worker, I think. So he came back from our trip to Toronto 2 days or 3 days after me, like just a little bit after me. And that was basically the difference, was it had spread that much more.
You
And
came back on a Thursday, he came back on a Sunday.
yeah, and he was advised that he should self-quarantine for 2 weeks. And so to I don't know, I wouldn't say celebrate, but to honor
fill the
his,
void, really.
Yeah, to fill a void.
We needed him because Brandon's on vacation, so
Yeah.
we need you then.
So we decided to do Contagion.
Hey, can you click on our YouTube channel?
Yeah, sure.
Can you show us the banner and everything?
Sure,
Look how
yeah, there
beautiful.
you go.
Show us
There
the
you go.
thumbnails.
Carpool Critics. Isn't that pink, you know?
You like that pink?
Look at this sexy guy here and James.
Yeah, he's shooting me.
Look at this sexy guy here and Daniel Radcliffe has a boat for whatever reason. That was a weird choice doing this one. I know Brandon really wanted to do it though.
I was happy that we did it actually, and it actually performed pretty well.
All right, cool.
I was afraid an indie movie would just.
This is a super experimental thing for us, but like if it takes off, you know, hey, cool. It's just another way for us to kind of talk to you guys about something other than tech, because believe it or not, we do have lives. I've been tempted at times to like, you know, integrate badminton into a video in some way.
I know.
We actually had a sponsor that had this product that was like, it was like a...
Like an auto-firing type of birdie dispenser?
No,
Like a
nothing
robot
like
that has an arm on it that can rack it.
We actually did do that video. I went to China for that video
Oh yeah,
a
okay.
couple years ago.
I watch our stuff.
Yeah, anyway. So no, it was this like all-in-one, easy-to-use, like live production kit. And so it was kind of like the equivalent of a Nest Cam, but with like an app. So it all went through your phone, so you could do like live switching and stream it. And it was like all wireless or something. And so I was like, oh, that would be pretty cool. So I could just go to like my badminton night, and that could be the video, is using this to effectively like broadcast a badminton match. Anyway, they ended up pulling out. I think my suspicion is that the tech just didn't actually work well enough for what we wanted to do, and so they didn't want to send them to us to try it. Every once in a while, those kinds of things will happen. They'll reach out and they'll go like, yeah, we've got all these great capabilities, and we'll be like, yeah, heck yeah, let's use them. And they'll be like, oh, we were actually really hoping you would just unbox it and say it's good.
That's really a fast-moving sport. Maybe a pet camera implementation would be better.
Yeah, exactly.